Then we'll move from there to the detailed questions. And when you're ready, I'm recording, actually.
I'm ready. Well, my name is Senator Dr. Jack Tilley, the Second Republic Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And in the Third Republic, I became presidential flag bearer under the famous Option A4 of Ibrahim Babangida regime. Then in the Fourth Republic, I was a member of the Constitutional Conference. That was 1994 to 1995. That fashioned out the constitution of this country. Then after that, I became a political leader by being the national vice president of the United Nigeria Congress Party that became defunct following the sudden death of General Sani Abacha. And I became the political advisor to the national chairman of the ruling party, that is the People's Democratic Party. And after that, I became the Director General of the Suswam Lawani campaign that ushered in the government of Benue State under the present leadership of Governor Suswam, which is Deputy Lawani. I'm an elder statesman, a businessman, and if you like, a permanent resident of Jos as my second home. I call it my first home, actually. So that's my brief background.
Okay. Delving into the past, as I had just sort of summarized to you.
Yes.
During now, I'm trying to recall the name of the governor.
Governor J.D. Gomwalk.
J.D. Gomwalk. Thank you. During his regime, there was a series of. You tell me more about it, because I think I might make a mistake of maybe calling it.
J.D. Gomwalk was a military governor.
Okay.
Ruled here in the early 70s. And he was such a formidable ruler, was such a great ruler. He was, to my best of opinion, the father of modern Plateau State, in the sense that he had a lot of people-oriented programs. He ruled over what is today Benue, Plateau States, parts of Taraba State, and parts of the present-day Kogi State. That comprised then Benue Plateau. And in a nutshell, he developed a lot of infrastructure. At the same time, set up a lot of institutions to give employment to the teeming youth. He came up with the idea of University of Jos also, but started it under the auspices of University of Ibadan. But as far as entrepreneurship was concerned, he took over a number of foreign businesses that were operating here in the then Benue Plateau and handed them over to up-and-coming entrepreneurs, businessmen, and ensured that they in turn gave a lot of empowerment to their colleagues, to their neighbors, to their relations, to their communities. And my father, Chief Dr. Jerome Tilley, officer of the Federal Republic, was one of such beneficiaries. As a matter of fact, what he did was to guarantee, use government instruments to guarantee loans from the banks, particularly Bank of the North, as it was then called, to get loans to buy over foreign businesses from Lebanese, from Syrians, and some of the mining leases that Europeans were operating then here on the Plateau State, and guarantee these loans for construction, for building, and for all sorts of purchase of properties in choice areas of Jos. And I know that we started what is known today and what was even known then as Tilley, Gyado and Company Nigeria Limited was basically a construction company that today has prided itself on doing multi-billion projects stretching across the entire nation. People like Dr. Form went into building, he was a medical doctor, but went into partnership with some Italians, and they built quite a number of things. I remember very well, one of them was the State Secretariat, which is today named after Gyado Gomwalk. And people like Ezekiel Washik, somebody Bokos, Amana Construction, a lot of companies sprung up during his time. And these companies, quite a number of them survive up to this day. And he is today known as the person who laid the economic and political foundation of the state. So this is what happened, and there was a lot of calm and peace. Everybody went about their business normally, and there was a lot of tranquility and so on. It attracted a lot of missionaries. You know, Jos is home to a lot of missionaries coming from all parts of the world that dates back in the 19th century. So Gyado Gomwalk, I have a lot of nostalgia for him. That's as much as I can remember.
Okay. Okay. Can you recall the names of some of the individuals that were beneficiaries of this loan as well?
Yes, I've just told you about Dr. Form,
I think J.Y. Lodge,
J.Y. Lott,
Paul Gindry.
Paul Gindry. You can research into that. Everybody who was then a businessman of repute had his roots in this program that Gyado Gomwalk initiated.
So they were already businessmen.
They were businessmen, but let me say small businessmen. He made them big businessmen by providing this program of giving them resources and spreading them out into various aspects of businesses, spanning in industry, manufacturing, construction, building, property development, and so on and so forth. Some of them traders, buying and selling, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Mining,
Right.
yeah, quite a lot of them went into mining.
Yeah. Because,
Bought mining equipment,
Right.
went into mining, yes. Took that over from the white people,
Right. Okay. That's it for that. That's what I wanted to get out of that,
Yes.
actually. Coming back to the city, there's been a lot of tension in the city in the past 10 years. That's a sort of international general
That's
thing.
right.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
What I want to ask is, from your perspective, as as you stated, you're a resident of the city. You
I've
you
been
have
here for over
exactly
35 years,
you
close
have
to 40
a
years.
stretch of
Yeah.
accolades and things
Yeah.
that you've achieved and done both here in the city and
That's
other
right.
parts of the country.
A lot of investments here too.
Right. Exactly. As a business person,
Yeah.
did you, or could you have ever felt like this city will be at the point that it is now? Like, was there anything at those times, like in the 80s, 70s, that you guys felt like were signs, of maybe something of such nature occurring?
No, really, frankly, if you gave me $1 billion to predict what we woke up and saw just turning into, I would never have imagined that was possible, Because the acronym for Plateau State was Home of Peace and Tourism. This was the Geneva of the entire country. This was where Jos was a place where everybody looking for freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom of movement, and freedom of information, any kind of freedom, positive freedom that you could close your eyes and think of. You found it on the plateau here, you found it here in Jos. It was our headquarters for the Middle Belt. It's still, to my best of imagination, the headquarters, but Frankly, this is where peace reigned magnanimously and preponderously, So I could not have imagined whatsoever that we would wake up into this thunderous problems that we found ourselves here in Jos. So to answer your question in summary, I could not have imagined that we would wake up and find Jos turn into the sort of situation that would boil almost to a non-stop basis, 100% degrees centigrade. So,
Have you ever heard of the man called Paul Genry?
yes, I know Paul Gendry very well.
From what perspective and what do you know of him?
No, he was a businessman and also a preacher. He preached, but I did not bother so much to be part of his preaching. But I know that he was preaching and predicting a lot of issues that today perhaps have come to the fore. He's dead now. He's dead close to 10 years ago. And I believe he also had some premonition about some of the things that we are seeing today. So he was one such preacher. There were quite a few others preaching on both sides of the divide, but I was not a disciple of his preachings. And I don't really know in detail what sort of thing he was telling people, but in summary, he had a premonition for what we woke up and saw in Jos. He premonized it in his preachings.
I want to ask you about the very first conflict that erupted here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As you had said, I would not have imagined
No.
in a billion years, that such thing would occur. What was your immediate reaction?